Are you crushing your NaNoWriMo word count goal so far? You are? Good for you. You're not? Me neither. Let's talk about why participating in NaNoWriMo isn't always a great idea.
Hi guys, it's November 1st, first day of NaNoWriMo. I just finished getting ready for work, but I have a few extra minutes before I have to leave. So I figured I would start writing the first words of NaNoWriMo. I'll be checking in throughout the month with you guys. So good luck to everybody, and we got this. Bye.
First of all, NaNoWriMo typically focuses on starting a new writing project. And that's not necessarily ideal if you're already in the middle of something. You don't really want to jump out of the world or the characters or the plot that you're currently working on. And that's where becoming a NaNoRebel comes in. Instead of starting a new project, you just continue on with whatever you're currently writing. Although for me this year, it didn't really work being a rebel, and I'll kind of explain why in these other points that I make. One of my biggest issues with NaNoWriMo this year, and even being a NaNoRebel, is that for me, NaNoWriMo focuses more on quantity over quality. And when I'm writing a first draft in something, that's okay because I'm just focusing on getting the words out and the story written. I don't necessarily need it to be perfect, as we all know first drafts aren't. But when I decided to be a NaNoRebel and do draft 2 of something I'd already written, suddenly quantity isn't so important, but quality was very important. And I didn't feel like it would work very well for me to try to hit the same word count goal for a first draft as for a second draft, where I really want to focus on the quality so that I can start showing people and sharing this manuscript with critique partners. And that kind of led into some issues with, well, if I don't want to focus on that word count goal, what do I do instead? So I started trying to remember how much time I spent in previous NaNoWriMos, how much time I would spend each day, and thought, well, I will do that instead. I'll focus on the time spent rather than the words written. And it just didn't have the same push for me right now, for other reasons that I'm going to continue to share. I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but November snuck up really quickly. I was ready for Preptober at the beginning of October, but that was when I thought I was going to be writing something completely new. And then partway through Preptober, I switched to wanting to work on the second draft of something I'd already written. And then right near the end of Preptober, I decided I should use a new writing software. So suddenly I had all of my notes to switch over to this new software and organize, which I am still doing already over a week into November, because it was a lot more notes than I realized I had. So I didn't want to focus on hitting some word count goal because some arbitrary date came up when it really just wasn't working for what my plans were. Another big reason that maybe NaNoWriMo isn't right for you this year is because perhaps you have bigger goals than writing 50,000 words in 1 month. That's not to say that writing isn't important to you. It definitely is to me, but writing 50,000 words in 1 month, not so much. I'm taking a couple courses right now that I don't want to set aside for the month of November because I've got momentum going. There's some physical and mental health habits that I've been working on building in the last couple months that I don't want to let slip because I know how hard I worked on them in the first place. And I don't want that to slide and get to December and realize that, yeah, I wrote a lot of words, but everything else fell to the wayside. As I mentioned, I'm working on switching all of my notes into a new software. I had some client work that I wanted to focus on in November, some events that I need to go to later this month. So there's a lot of other priorities. And as much as writing is a priority and it is important, the specific word count of 50,000 words just wasn't important enough this month. And I just had to let that go and realize that that's okay. I don't want to force myself to complete this goal in the month of November just because it's National Novel Writing Month. I can pick a different month that works better. There's Camp Nano in April and July, or I can just choose any other month of the year or any other word count goal. Okay, I have something really exciting to share. I just got it in the mail. I haven't even opened it yet, aside from slicing the bag open. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Conqueror challenges. It's a business that creates all of these walking or running or cycling challenges. And most of them are real life. So you can go places like Niagara Falls or the Great Wall of China. There's so many of them. And you just use their app and it tracks, like you kind of walk the same path and the same distance, but it's all virtual. You don't actually have to travel there. And I saw one online that, I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. So I saw one online that you can follow Frodo and Sam's journey to Mordor. And there's 5 different challenges, and I just received the medal for the first challenge, the Shire challenge. So I'm gonna open it right now on camera. Oh my gosh. It is so cool. Oh, it's also super heavy and stuck to the paper. 1 second here. Ta-da! Oh my goodness. Look at how beautiful that medal is. And here's the super cool part about this one. This, I think, opens. Whoa! And there is the one ring that I have to take all the way to Mordor. This took me a lot longer than I anticipated to get the first medal. It's a little embarrassing how long it took. I think it was 233 kilometers that I had to walk, and it took me months. But here it is. I've got it, and can't wait to work on the next one. The last big reason that I'm setting aside my NaNoWriMo and NaNoRebel goals is because I have actively been trying to teach myself to slow down. I've been in one of those spaces where it feels like there isn't enough time to do everything I need to do, and I'm kind of rushing through all of these activities and not being present with them. And I don't want to backtrack that work because it is a lot of work to mentally maintain that thought of like slowing down every time you're doing an activity and being present. So if I was to try to write 50,000 words this month, I would definitely need to rush through some activities just to make space and time to do that writing. And kind of like I mentioned with the physical and mental habits that I've been working on, I don't want to let those slide. So it was really important to me to be able to maintain that feeling of being able to slow down and know that it's okay to do things slower and be more present with them. So sacrificing that to hit 50,000 words, it just wasn't worth it this month. So I just found this map that I made a few years ago when I first started writing my fantasy series. It was tucked away in a little writing notebook that I haven't used for years, but kind of neat to pull this out and see what was happening when I first started writing. Probably the story is not very accurate to this map anymore. Those are the main reasons why I've kind of let the goal of participating in NaNoWriMo or being a NaNoRebel kind of slip to the side. If you have any of your own, let me know in the comments. This was hard. After telling so many people, or at least the people that watch my videos, thank you, that I would be participating in NaNoWriMo this year, it was difficult to decide to let that goal go. In some ways, it feels like a failure. Even though I know it's best for my journey right now, it was hard not to feel like I would be letting people down or that people might think less of me. I've had similar discussions and seen videos of other authors who put it out there that they were participating in NaNoWriMo, they were doing all the Preptober things, and then suddenly it's November and they've decided it's not for them, or they're doing a very modified version of NaNoWriMo. And they all kind of had that same fear of, the fact that they told people they were participating and now it looks really different. And I totally get that. but it really helped me seeing other people share their journeys, which is partly why I want to share mine as well. Because it's easy to understand why they feel like they're disappointing people, but at the same time, if you know that you're making this decision because it's right for you, and it's not that you're letting your fear of failure or your fear of not being good enough make this decision for you, then it's okay if there's people who don't necessarily understand why you've made this decision. Although honestly, I think most people get it because we all go through so much in our lives. And I think people understand that things change, things come up, and it's just not the right time for everyone. And that's totally okay. So if you're in the same boat as me and you were all in Preptober and now everything has changed, don't be so hard on yourself. It is okay to make these changes. Of course, I wish I'd realized this before November started, but as I mentioned in previous videos, if you don't try something, you won't realize whether or not it's for you. So I'm so glad that I tried to start participating in NaNoWriMo and that I was willing to accept that this year it's just not for me. I have skipped a previous NaNoWriMo year before because I was going on vacation in Mexico and I knew I would be away for an extended period of time. So even though this is a different reason, to me it's just as valid and I'm okay with it.
So I'm super excited. I just got back in my car after visiting a local shop who has agreed to sell my nature photo cards. So that's awesome. It's always great to get out and get your product into a shop that also is just promoting handmade items and local artists. So I'm really excited.
So am I still writing this month? Absolutely. But it's definitely a modified version from what I thought I would be writing. I am still loving riding on that collective energy of everybody writing together in the same month. And I'm super enjoying everyone's word count updates and their vlogs. And what I'm loving most though is going back through my story and rereading what I've written, adding scenes, revamping characters, and really strengthening the foundation that my fantasy world is built upon. It's been really nice to go back with the ability to go slow. I think it'd be a very different experience if I was trying to rush through it, like I said, to get that 50,000 words. So I'm really enjoying just taking my time with it and knowing that I'm putting in my best effort to make draft 2 awesome. Please let me know where you're at with NaNoWriMo in the comments below. Let me know your word count. Let me know what you're working on. I would love to hear it. And that's it for this video. I hope you're all doing well, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!